Okay, sir, now we are good to go. We can start.
Start, please.
Good afternoon and greetings to all. I, Sanjaykchadha, welcome you all to today's webinar on the topic Changing Jurisprudence of Women's Rights. We are extremely grateful to each one of you attending the session today for taking time out of your busy schedules and for choosing to be a part of this wonderful session. Please note that a recorded version of today's webinar will always be available on the YouTube channel where it is being live streamed, which is called Spreading Legal Awareness by Sanjaykchadha. This YouTube channel, under the able guidance of Mr. Chadha, has a variety of legal information to offer in the form of dedicated webinars, TV news interviews, live debates, and much, much more, which is beneficial not only for a law student or a legal practitioner, but also for the layman. So you always have an option of revisiting these old videos in the future. Also, we would love to hear from you. So please feel free to pop in your questions in the live chat section of this webinar, and we would get them answered by our esteemed guest speaker today. Thank you so much. Now, as we proceed towards today's topic, women have been an integral part of the social structure from times immemorial. The prosperity and welfare of any society is determined by the status of women in that society. They also play a pivotal role in the formation of rituals, customs, and traditions in any society. Therefore, the status of women in the society is a measuring yard for assessing the standard of age and time. Enough ink has been spilled over the subject of gender equality in the past. There have been many books dedicated to the issue of discussing discrimination based on sex. The status of women, unfortunately, has become an irritating subject in the male-dominated feudal societies of the world. The feminist struggle for equal rights has been paved through legislation, be it the suffragette movement, the right to vote, to employment rights, property rights, rights governing divorce, marriage, childcare, medicine, and much, much more. Legislation based on equal rights affects the very values of a society, impacting not just the way we vote, but the way we live, the way we look at work, the way we function as a family, the way we access education, childcare, and justice. Feminist legal theory herein becomes a very important concept. Feminist legal theory, also known as feminist jurisprudence, is based on the belief that law has been fundamental in women's historic subordination. It is the philosophy based on the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. Feminist jurisprudence as a field of legal scholarship began in the 1960s and has since then influenced many debates on sexual and domestic violence, on inequality in the workspace, and gender-based discrimination per se. Hence, laws affecting employment, divorce, reproductive rights, rape, domestic violence have all been benefited from the analysis and insight provided by feminist jurisprudence. So today's webinar on changing jurisprudence on women's rights will give us an overview of the current spate of women-centric legal reforms in India. And we'll also be focusing on the socio-cultural impact on the very fabric of Indian citizenship. I seek immense pleasure in introducing our guest speaker for today, Dr. Vipin K. Malhotra. Sir is the head of Department of Political Science at Sri Aurobindo College, New Delhi. Sir is an international scholar in foreign policy, human rights, disability studies. Sir is also the Honorary Director at Research and Publication at BSK Legal. Dr. Vipin K. Malhotra has pursued his LLM and PhD, and has also received the Media Award in Innovation and Education 2017. Sir is also the Joint Secretary of the National Association of the Blind Delhi and is a executive member of the Society for Child Development. Sir is a frequented resource person on family law, human rights, Indian politics, and disability law, and has also contributed several articles in politics and law in national and international journals alike. Sir, it is a great pleasure to have you conduct this session for us today. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to conduct this session for us inquisitive law students. Thank you so much. We also have with us Mr. Sanjaykchadha. Mr. Sanjaykchadha is a learned advocate and the founding and managing partner in litigation, arbitration, and compliance group, namely labor law compliance at BSK Legal. His fields of activity diversely focuses on criminal arbitration, labor law, insurance law, among many others. Sir has also got a distinction to act as an arbitrator in over 200 cases and has also acted as a mediator resolving several disputes. He regularly contributes his views and ideologies to various news and print media and is therefore one of the most renowned and established faces of media journals and channels. Under his supervision, administration, and over 26 years of experience, the firm BSK Legal has successfully handled all kinds of cases in over 614 districts in India. Sir, with an objective of spreading legal awareness, has arranged a plethora of webinars like the unification of labor law, contempt of court, insurance law, and in a variety of subjects. Sir is in order to impart the dynamics of law as an objective is popularly known among the law students for his numerous internship programs. Sir is known to help his students by simplifying the complex laws and molding it in a way, making it easy for the student to grasp the concept. Sir is a lawyer in every true sense. So we are extremely lucky to have such esteemed guest speakers with us today. Over to them.
Thank you very much, Sanya. So glad to have you also. Thank you very much for taking out time. And I would also request all the people here, and from my core of my heart, I would like to thank respected Professor Dr. Vipin K. Malhotra ji, who, I will just say one thing, and thereafter, because I know many of you are really waiting to hear from him. So what I want to say in one line is that the spirit with which Vipinji has given, has left and has been spreading is, I have no words to say anything about it. He is not only mentor of thousands of students, but it is the truth that from last 32 years I know him. He is one of my mentors also. He has guided me, and if I am in trouble, I will straight away, the first name would come, I will go and speak to him. He is a true friend as well. I will come to the topic straight away, and I would request our honorable guest for today's evening, Shri Vipinji, to please enlighten all of us about the subject. And I know, as I always say, you are a bank of knowledge. So we all are waiting for you to start, sir. Vipinji, please.
Okay, friends, very good afternoon. Our, newly joined, member, honorable member now, Sanya, she has built up a, big prologue for me, a big canvas for me to work upon. in this lecture. And the way she has introduced, I think now one has to prove that what she says is right. And but Sanjay ji has said, actually it is vice versa. What he was saying about me, I have to say the same thing about him. And he is a great champion of human rights. He has been the champion of, downtrodden, who has, tirelessly worked for their emancipation, their protection of rights. He has not only made a good fortune in Delhi, but he has changed the fortune of several people here. And now he has dedicated his rest of life in spreading legal awareness, because that is very important. And one could say that rights are not rights if they are not accessed. So, having said that, it's a privilege to be with the budding legal scholars and talk about the changing jurisprudence of women's rights. And all know that the world has not been a very very level at level playing field all the times. And world around, you could say you could see lots of inequalities. You could see lots of exploitations. You could see lots of horrible laws which do not have any ethical or principled value. And that has been true even today when we talk about gender rights. And especially, still you could witness as a youngster the rights given to transgenders. Though now on book you have lots of rights for women, which we will talk about. But then, still there is no level playing field as far as the gender perspectives are concerned. Women, the jurisprudence which has been there since the time of Manu Shastra, as you know, in Indian tradition, which occupies a great, place in the legal jurisprudence, especially about society, family, and the state. Talks about the subordinate position of women. Though in Indian tradition, she has been assigned as the goddess of power, goddess of wealth, goddess of wisdom. But my belief is the person whom you do not wish to give rights are accorded this kind of place. You just try to capsule the capsule the domination through giving an over respect to a person. So you don't want to give actually any right to that person. So that is what happened in Indian tradition. And they were accorded the place of goddess embodied, which is embodied in the embodied with the power of wealth, power of wisdom, power of muscles, Durga, Saraswati, and Lakshmi. So this has been the modus of operandi of human history, checkered history, not only in India, but also in other religions as well as in Islam, in Christianity. The women were not given the due place which they always deserved. So, in the name of Evidence Act, just like in Islam, the evidence by women was not considered by the courts. They were given, half of the property of their father in comparison to their sons. And in India, the women were not given any right to property. They were not given the right to remarry. They were, they were the practice of female infanticide, the practice of female sati was there, as we all know, though it may not be reflecting the whole society, but these kind of practices were there. I don't say that everyone was practicing sati. I also don't say that everyone was practicing female infanticide or fratricide later, but still these aberrations were there. It is not that everyone is killing women, no respect was given, no rights were given. That is also not truth. That is a half truth. But legally speaking, this kind of jurisprudence was there, wherein women were accorded, subordinate position. In Manu Samriti, it was clearly written that in childhood, the women was to be guardianed by their parents. Then in the young age, she has to be guardianed by their husband, and in old age, she has to be guardianed by, her sons. So this was a clear reflection, and of the kind of place women were accorded in the law. And in the West, the position was also not very good, though we could see lots of powerful women in the West. I will talk about that. There was a rule of thumb. I think you must be aware of that. Anyone is aware of the rule of thumb? Any audience who is aware of the rule of thumb? What was that in Britain?
Anybody could say? I think you have to tell us. Nikita?
Rule of thumb was that.
Yes, sir. I'm so
you
sorry
know?
to.
You know?
Yes, sir.
So
But
please
don't
answer.
Google it. Don't Google it. I am not.
No. Please listen. She's replying.
Yes.
Sir, there was a misconception about rule of thumb that women wives, the women who were wives were tortured and suffered in a pain. That was, I think.
The rule of thumb was, it was given in one of the judgment, that the woman can only be beaten by her husband with a stick which is not thicker than his thumb. So that was the rule of thumb. So you could well see that this position of women, despite having several rights, continued in the Western tradition, where everyone knows that the women were not given right to vote in most of the countries, which included United States of America, which had one of the most advanced constitutional system in the modern times. And even in Britain, the women were not given right to vote till the, mid of 20th century. So, you could well see, and India was one of the few countries which accepted at the outset the universal, adult franchise. So, this was the position, not only India, most of the countries did not give socio-economic and political rights to women, and only with the passage of time, that is after the 1950s, the women rights were acknowledged. So there was a consciousness, and several movements were launched in the 18th and 19th century for the emancipation of women. But till 1950s, they were not given full-fledged rights as far as the law is concerned. So this was the situation, and now I could see that the empowerment of women was not actually caused by either due to the pressure from the women, due to the education of the women solely, or you could see due to the man's kindness, that men have become very humane. This is not the right thing, I would say. It is the changing, technological intervention which has emancipated actually women. And one of the scholars in America used to say that women are the last colony of men. So, when colonialism was over and women were still to be liberated, most of the countries were liberated, but the women are kept under domination till date. I would still say that despite having several legal enabling laws, legal acts, the women are still being reigned by patriarchal society. And there may be several reasons attributed to that. There may be, social reasons, economic reasons, political reasons. But, in time to come, the law has acknowledged that, women cannot be put under check for such a long period of time. And now we have, gone to another extreme where we have lots of enabling laws for women. More than 50 laws have been passed by Indian Parliament, which which provide special rights to women. As far as the Constitution of India, as you all know, that we have Article 14, 15, 16, and Article 39, Article 243, through the amendments of 73 and 74, that lots of rights have been provided by the Constitution of India. Especially, I would like to mention that even under Article 15.3, women special laws could be passed, special provisions could be made to protect the rights of women. So, why this is there? Why now we have come to this point that we want equality for women? What is the reason for that? Why they were under check for so many years, so many centuries? So that is the question haunting everybody, because women are not, less intelligent. Women are not less powerful. Women are not, less capable. They are much more emotionally developed than men. But then question arises that down the centuries, why the women had this plight? It is just because of sheer, biological reasons that women used to be the procreators. They used to procreate. That is why they were put under check, because nowhere they were less powerful physically, I would say. So what is the reason? That one has to understand when we talk about law, legal jurisprudence. Because man has been very crafty. Man has not been very powerful, but man has been certainly, I would say, very crafty. He has put everything under check, and he had made such social systems which barred the entry of women in public domain. So, family system, because women have to marry and they have to be reborn in other house after she attained the age of, youth. So when she becomes young, she is rooted out. She has to be rooted out from her parental house, where she has created an aura of rights. And suddenly, on the fine morning, she wakes up in other house, and where she has to create again, the aura of rights, and it takes her around 20 years, 25 years. Because when you are rooted out, even if men go to others' house, they will not immediately get any right. They will have to create their rights in that aura, and even to men, it will take so many years. That is what women have to do. She has created right-based environment in her parental house, and when she gets, she attains the young age, she is 20, 25, the fine morning she goes to others' house, and suddenly all the rights are abolished in her parental house by giving her some amount of dowry, some amount of big parties, and it suddenly loses her rights. So that was a social system created. That is what I understand. You may have additional opinion about it. So when someone is rooted out, from one home to another home, one environment to another home, then creating a right-based environment there becomes automatically difficult. And another thing is, whatever she possessed as a matter of power, as matter of, her plus points in simple language, was associated with, her character. If some woman is, too nice, too feminine, too emotional, and she is too much socializing, she is regarded as characterless. So her power of affection, her power of love, and even if she smiles, it is understood to be that yes, she is saying yes, you can come. It is an invitation. So Just like, in Islam, you could well see that how, torturous it is to, go for mutilation, genital mutilation. Just like that, this kind of mutilation, smiling mutilation, emotional mutilation, that was there, that she does not have to smile with everybody, she does not have to socialize with everybody, does not have to express her love with anybody, she does not have to express her emotions with anybody, and if she shares these kinds of gestures with anybody, she is rendered as characterless. And several divorce cases are there in India, wherein if she goes to a cafe, she goes to parties, the judges have granted divorce on this ground that she is not wearing Mangal Sutra, she could be divorced for that. So, automatically just understand the jurisprudence, understand the crafty laws which were associated with them. People say that women were weak. I don't see that. And you have seen in the checkered history of human beings, you must have read about Cleopatra. How many of you have read about Cleopatra? Those women have not married, have not tied their knots with anybody, or tied their knots with a single person, have ruled the world. Cleopatra was one of the most powerful women, history has ever seen. She ruled over the three empires, that is Egyptian Empire, Greek Empire, and the Roman Empire. You must have read several novels of Shakespeare about Cleopatra, Julius Caesar and all. So, you could see, and in English history also, Elizabeth, she was the most powerful queen. And she used to be called Coquette. And her empire was expanded like anything. So you have lots of women who have come out of these shackles of craftiness, and they ruled over the world. Queen Victoria, as you know, all are aware of Victorian age. She was also a very powerful person, and Disraeli used to say that the Queen Victoria's presence is so frightening that it is very difficult to stand before her. So in India, you could well see that till Modi, Narendra Modi, Indira Gandhi was one of the most powerful and she, Prime Minister of India. No Prime Minister is regarded parallel to her till date. And you could well understand that, if say that women are weak, yes, women are not weak. Only thing is, such institutional arrangements were made, which were, which were keeping the women folk under carpet. So, this kind of, jurisprudence has to change now legally also, because earlier women were acquiring power outside the ambit of law, and that was an aberration. But now the law has acknowledged, due to this technological intervention, wherein it is said that the contraceptives have liberated women, because now they can procreate only with their wishes, not with no procreation could take place without their wishes. So, these contraceptives have liberated women, and technological empowerment. Now you could see there were lots of cases of sexual harassment, and this sexual harassment case, which came before the American courts through the students of Yale University. I think Sanjaykchadha ji must be aware of that case in 1980s. And it was first of this kind that two girls lodged a complaint against their coach, hockey coach, about the sexual harassment, but they could not prove it. And, they could not prove it, and they lost the case in the courts. But due to this case only, various universities in the United States of America established, internal complaint committee against the sexual harassment. And the case of Vishakha, 1997, wherein Supreme Court laid down the guidelines against the sexual harassment, and which forced the Parliament to enact a law against the sexual harassment, its prevention and redressal. In 2013, it took 16 years to the Parliament of India to enact such laws. So, you could well understand that though the process of making laws, just like Domestic Violence Act was passed only in 2005, wherein domestic violence is a day-to-day occurrence in any society given the world, be it American society, British society, any society. Domestic violence is prevalent everywhere, whether it is it is an Islamic country, Christian country, or Hindu country, or secular country. Everywhere domestic violence is a day-to-day occurrence. And but it took India almost 55 years to enact this law. And this amendment, I think that was 76 or 84, this 498A, which was inserted into Indian Penal Code about the mental and physical cruelty against in-laws. So though these laws have mitigating effect, but I think this kind of violence is still going on. Dowry is still being practiced. Until unless you don't change the customs and practices, social practices, making law will make the right-based society for women very slow, and it will not reach them to the extent where law expects. The enabling 50 laws have not, breeded much results. ITPA was made in 1956, that is Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act. And, immoral trafficking, every next lane, you could see lots of spas, lots of, massage centers. Now, prostitution has become a household, work. But law has not been able to do much. So advertisements, vulgar advertisement you could see all the time now. Even if one has to sell a razor, a soap, a car, one has to produce, a woman with different kind of clothing. So, women are still commodity. They have been given several rights, but these rights are still, in the pipeline. They have not reached women, and rights are not rights till they reach the women. If, matrimonial laws are made strong, then people start living in live-in relationship. If you create strong laws against sexual harassment, this leads to private companies not hiring them. And if you make stringent laws regarding rape, they are not only raped, they are murdered also. So these things have backfired. The laws have backfired to a greater extent also. So that is another problem which we are facing, that whether we want to make stringent laws or not. If you make domestic violence act implement, the families are broken. If you have uh, a strong family laws, then family will not be there. Where do we stand? That is the problem. That is a big question mark. Changing uh, uh, changing jurisprudence for the rights of women. How far it can go, that is a big question mark for the legal fraternity to understand. Because every court still suggests that every case related to domestic violence, every case related to cruelty, every case related to divorce must be given to mediation cell. So let us not break the family, and let us try to resolve the conflict between uh, men and women through uh, you know social intervention. But where do we stand, that whether we have intentionally made these laws, or we want to achieve something else? We want to give women right, but then we want to perpetrate our domination. Because once this kind of matrimonial arrangement is there, wherein you have to root out a woman from her paternal house and she has to go to other house, then that is a but natural thing that it would be very difficult for women to access the rights, and only when she will become mother-in-law she will get lots of rights, not as a daughter-in-law. So these things put a big question mark, and it is not the plight of Indian society, it is the plight of Western society. No parliament still have achieved. Maybe some aberration is there that you can find out and tell me. The 50% mark in the parliaments, in the legislature, wherein women have participated more than 50%, or they have been elected, they have represented people more than 50% in any legislature. And US is the case study wherein the more than 2.25 century, no women president has been elected till date. It is a fortunate thing, and it's a matter of great pride for India that in the United States for the first time a woman vice president has been elected, and she belongs to Indian origin. It's a real privilege for India, but condition in the American Congress, American executive, American judiciary remains the same. That and even in the 500 fortunate companies, women representation at the top is very less. So same is the case with India. We may have in Delhi University 80% of the professors who are women. We may have more than 70% judges in the judiciary, but at High Court, Supreme Court, still their number is very less. But things are processing, and I believe that time is not far when women will understand these shackles wherein they were enslaved for centuries, and now they have started understanding, they have started living independent life, more than family life. Now they are very much conscious of their rights, and time is not far off. As I said, that camera and contraceptives have liberated them. No one can now go for sexual harassment as easily as one could do before 20, 30 years ago. Everyone is afraid of camera. Everyone is of mobile is a big weapon in the hand of women to protect themselves. And several CCTV cameras, the sexual harassment cases have been proved, just like a case of Tarun Tejpal. You could well understand how much he was punished, though now he is free. He's freed by court, and because not that he committed sexual harassment, but because evidences were, destroyed by the Goa police. So, you could well see this camera magic and contraceptive magic have worked well. And now I think matrimonial laws, matrimonial customs, matrimonial practices have to also change. And in time to come, I believe, because women are naturally strong, their survival rate is much more higher, much more than that of men in the childhood. It is biologically proved that women are stronger than men, and they have much more survival rate than men. And as you understand, that emotionally they are much more strong. The suicide rate amongst men is much higher than that of women. And now this warfare is also controlled by cyberspace, and women are good software engineers. They are occupying very very conspicuous place in the engineering field, also medical field, also judicial legal field also. So time is not far off when you will see that men will be meeting the same plight as women. So they will have to fight for their rights, not women. So women will have to be kind towards men in time to come, in maybe next 50 years, that they give some rights to men, folk, and men would be knocking at the door of courts. Now you could see very well lawyers have started opening, their welfare offices for husbands, that वो सताए हुए और पीड़ित पतियों के लिए every lawyer writes, and एक जगह लिखा होता है पत्नियों के लिए, दूसरी जगह पतियों के लिए. So you could well see now the right-based society for women is not a far dream. Maybe the situation is not very happy for today, but I'm very much conscious, due to this technological intervention, due to not equality of law, but equity of law and equalization of law, the women will have a better status than that of men. So, now I invite question answers. You must be having some questions in your mind. So I think that is what I could say about the changing jurisprudence for the rights of women. So you will well understand that what kind of powers women have. They have to identify, power of love, power of affection, power of emotions is no less power than that of, muscular power or ideological power. So you have to acknowledge, and you please don't associate this power of yourself with your character. So because people will try to forewall you in the name of curtailing this power, because men cannot equate this power of love and affection and emotions. There is no equation. I still remember, when we used to be students, all the seniors used to give notes to women, not to men. If they used to politely ask their seniors, please give us notes, so they immediately used to give. And whenever we used to ask them, please give the notes, they never used to. So this is the power of love and affection, because they are always affectionate. They are much more affectionate. They are much more, penetrating in mind and heart of all the human beings. So that power you must acknowledge, and you should try to get rid of these customs like dowry, just always trying to ask your husband to provide you a matrimonial home, always trying to marrying a person who is better than you economically, socially. Never try to find out equal partner, or even if you are kind enough, you can marry a less dominant person also. Don't think that just you need a macho or a dominant person in your life, because that will give you always a subordinate position in life. So you have to be very careful in accepting these customs and practices. And if you accept the same custom and practices, and then you want that a right-based society can be created for women, then you will be in illusion, and you will be living in an illusionary world. You have to see what are the social norms, what are the legal practices which are hindering your growth, that you have to set aside. Don't follow the traditions. Don't try to do the same thing as the women have done in the past and expecting different results. So Einstein used to say about the definition of a fool. He says that the definition of a fool is you do the same thing and expecting different results. So if you follow the same customs, practices, so same social laws, same family arrangement, then you expect that a right-based society will be created for you, then you will be in strong illusion. Okay, so I think I should stop speaking here, and I wish you have some question and answers.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with this topic. We are so much more aware now, and we do have many questions. Sir, what is your take on current feminism movements? That do you think it is important to curb the general norm of pseudo-feminism that is overshadowing the real feminism today? As you said, feminism stands for equality. So what is your take on that?
Actually, feminism has come a long way, especially, you have liberal feminism, you have differential feminism, you have radical feminism, and you have post-modern feminism. So these are the four different perspectives of feminism. Liberal feminism always wanted that there should be equality between men and women. And differential feminism used to say not equality, there has to be equalization. Radical feminism, would say that let us be women. We want, a word of our own, and don't disturb us. And post-modern feminism, which also is the amalgamation of these three. They say that since both men and women are different, so they require a different environment to grow, and it is not equality, it is the equalization which is more important. So We don't want to be macho. We don't want to be, muscular. We don't want to be, very asserting. But at the same time, we require our rights as we want to, live with dignity and, self-respect. So that is what we say that, and the kind of feminism you are saying is now no more a reality, as you say, but women want a structural change in the society, that live and let us live. Geo or Jeene do, they want that they should not be interfered in their private life. That is why we recognize the rights of LGBT. So they want that they must be allowed to live with dignity, and it is not necessary that they want to participate in the patriarchal society. So they want to be independent. Now many women, I don't have the statistics, you can just give me the statistics. Many women do not want to marry because they believe that the marriage is a great hindrance in their rights. So they want to live independent life. But at the same time, no men and no women can live in isolation. They need each other, and there has to be some different social structure for their union. The marriage does not, the kind of marriage we have does not provide a simple answer to these questions, because this matrimonial arrangement is patriarchal, and if you enter into that, you have to survive with that, because once you accept a social norm, once you accept a custom, then it means you are accepting the domination. You are always looking for a very rich man. You are always looking forward for a very powerful person. So that is, now women are well aware of this. So they want that man should be of equal status to them. He should not be very powerful, very, uh, very rich. He should be parallel to you. An engineer wants to marry an engineer, doctor wants to marry a doctor, and a lawyer wants to marry a lawyer, teacher wants to marry a teacher. So they want parity in life. Earlier, that was not the condition. They always wanted that they should marry to a superior. They should marry to a person who is, elder to him in age. But now, women are marrying the younger persons also. Women are marrying persons of their age, and they are, now aspiring for a different kind of social structure where matrimonial arrangement can be of different kind. So this is a new paradigm which has been set in the postmodern feminist discourse. That is what I think the right thing. They are adopting a right posture in this regard, and I still believe that it will take some time to settle the consciousness of men and women, which has been embedded in their mind for thousands of years. But time is not far off. The kind of psychological change which we have witnessed over the century is really startling, and now a different social order I could see in the young minds, and now they are not very fascinating about their marriage.
So we have lots of questions pouring in the chat box. So we would love you to answer them. So there is a question by Mona Lisa Rao. She says, Sir, what are your views on disregarding women of their guardianship rights in Muslim law and not making women Karta of family in both Hindu and Muslim laws?
See, now women are can be co-partners in Hindu United, family. And, as far as Muslim law is concerned, it has to be modified. But Islam was one of the most modern religion in times when women did not have any right in Christianity or Hinduism. The Islam gave them the rights, but still that was a matter of concern that Islam could not progress or change its, laws. And, that is a matter of still pity that women do not have proper property rights till date. They have to acquire half of the property, along with her brothers, and proportionate to their brothers, and they are not made the family head. That is this personal law has to be changed. Just like now, this triple talaq amendment act has come, wherein this Muslim divorce rights of Muslim women divorces were granted. And these personal laws are against the mandate of our constitution, and I don't know why Parliament at the outset only in 1950s did not accorded a uniform civil code, because personal is political for women, and these in the name of personal laws, the women should not be cheated, they should not be looted of their rights. As far as the divorce is concerned, as for just like in Hindu matrimonial arrangement, there was no place for divorce. In Muslims also, women had very less grounds for divorce. Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act, I think 1937 or 38. But in Hindu Marriage Act, the women did not have any right to divorce till 1955. And this polygamy was practiced in Hinduism. The men could marry as much as wife he wanted. In Islam, only 4 wives were allowed, but this polygamy was fully allowed in Hindu matrimonial discourse in Mitakshara law. And though it was considered, a norm and ethical to have a monogamous family, but that was an ideal situation only, but legally no one was prohibited. So personal, in the name of personal law, it is the women who have been cheated. That is what I say, that man had been very crafty in projecting such family arrangement wherein the women rights were, plundered.
So we have another question by Ginny Jab. She's asking, Sir, in the wake of rising cases of dowry deaths, despite stringent laws against it, the practice of dowry disguised as a gift from bride's family still prevails. So what are your views regarding this, and how can we stop this practice?
I think Prevention of Dowry Act, 1961, I think 61 or 60. So, that is a black spot on the legal jurisprudence, jurisprudence of the rights of women. Every woman, every man happily giving and taking dowry, and law has not been able to do anything. We are ourselves culprits. We go to marriages in 5 stars, in farmhouses, and we all, with our open eyes and with, you know, lots of appreciation, we are celebrating those marriages wherein hefty amount of dowry is given, you know, cars are given, you know, lavish furniture is given, ornaments are given. They are not gifts actually. Under the carpet of gifts, they are actually dowries. And I don't know that whether law or courts are responsible for this. The whole society is responsible for this, and you have to change the, that is what I stress, you have to change the customs and practices of marriage. If a woman has to go to another house, her rights are automatically uprooted from the first house, and in the second house she has to create a right-based environment, and which she wants to create through which she wants to create through dowry only. So, you know, this is a matter of concern in the society, that we all know that this is wrong, but we are party to that. We all are party to that. There may not be anyone who is not present here who has not, gone to a lavish marriage, enjoying, you know, lots of dishes, you know, rasgullas, and, you know, what I say, ice creams, and, you know, halwas or something like that, pre-dinner chaat pakodis, everyone enjoying that, and then we are criticizing the dowry laws. This is a mockery of one's consciousness itself, and you are making a mockery of your consciousness, that you are, you know, criticizing something which you yourself, and that has created lots of rift between siblings. After fine 20-25 years, after taking so much of dowry, the same woman becomes very much conscious of her rights in the paternal family, and that not only creates rift between the husband and wife, you know, as far as the dowry complaints are concerned, but this is creating a rift between the siblings also. First 25 years she is fighting with her husband on the issue of dowry, and next 25 years she is fighting her brother and sisters for her paternal property. So I don't know, means where do we stand? Whether law, if you change a law in a partial manner, what kind of havoc it could create in the society? You are half demolishing the social structure. Either you demolish the whole social structure, or you let it be like that. So this halfway house has created lots of problems for men and women both, and that is why, you know, you will, I think Chadha ji can tell in a better manner, because I am just an academician, that 85 to 90% cases are related to families of matrimonial dispute and property dispute. So if courts are flooded so much with this kind of cases, then what could be the, you know, plight of this society? The society is living under stress. Every home is under stress. Matrimonial disputes, then sibling disputes. So, you know, dispute between parents and children, between in-laws and daughter-in-laws or son-in-laws. These kinds of, you know, societies are not going to produce very happy generations in time to come. The generations are all, the young minds are all in stress because they see their family in stress. No home is a happy home. That is the problem. So, you know, lawyers have to think about it, that where do we stand and what kind of laws we want, whether we want to overhaul this whole system or we just want to do a lip service by changing merely few lines of the whole gender jurisprudence, then creating more problems than we solve.
So, Jatin here has another question for you. He says, how can a relatively balanced order be achieved in the society for an equilibrium such that neither gender is oppressed nor dominating over the other? Shouldn't great minds be applied to this instead of any one-sided or extreme views?
Vipinji, you have to unmute, please. Vipinji, please unmute. Sorry.
Yes. For that, you have to go to Scandinavian countries who are, getting rid of these kind of social laws. They say that we do not want to, entertain these matrimonial disputes. That is your internal affair. You just settle yourself, because marriage is a very personal matter. And if any crime is committed, that crime will be treated as just crime, not a family matter or something like that. So, that is what we have to say, that, you have to create a consciousness in the society where you have to demolish a patriarchal or matriarchal society. I don't say that you create, instead of patriarchal society, you create a matriarchal society. It will be meeting the same fate. Then men will be, under domination, and they will be maltreated. It is the power, absolute power corrupts absolutely, whether it is man or woman. If a woman has so much of power, then she will maltreat man. And if a man has so much of power, she will maltreat man. So, it has to be in consciousness and in law. Now we need gender neutral laws, and we don't just want to change the social paradigm where we have to change this, Hindu marriage, Hindu matrimonial system, Muslim matrimonial system, Christian matrimonial system. You have to have a civil matrimonial system wherein, the man and woman, share the equal responsibility for making the family. It is not that woman has to go to her in-laws to settle there, and it is not that a man has to, because you are all independent beings. Youngsters are independent. They have to have those who are able to sustain an independent household. They must get married. Otherwise, there is no question of getting married. If you will financially depend yourself, whether it is a man or woman, automatical domination will come. And don't try to live in utopian society where you will see that only law can protect you.
Thank you so much, sir. So we have another question by Sundaram Dhari. He's asking, sir, do you think restitution of conjugal rights under family law is violative of the fundamental right under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution?
It is not only violative of Article 21, that is what I say, that the matrimonial laws have to be changed. And, RCR is a big, big umbrella for men to perpetrate their domination and escape themselves from, various stringent laws which are for protecting the rights of women. Man always files RCR under Section 9 of the Divorce Act. And this RCR is restitution of conjugal right, give right to sort of legal rape in a way. So this is this, I think this should this very section now in the modern times should be set aside. And if someone does not want to live with a man, or a man does not want to live with a woman, under this amendment of 1976, where Parliament consciously created a consensus-based divorce under 13(1)(b), and now you have Supreme Court judgment on 497 also, and the sex should not be the sole base for matrimonial thing. If somebody is not consciously happy, emotionally happy with each other, then I think no one should force them to live with each other. So this, in India, the divorce rate has increased, but it is still around 1% of the total population, married population, whereas in USA and other Scandinavian countries, it is more than 55%, 60%, and even 76% in countries like I think France, if we have the correct statistics. But having said this, this is also not a state of happiness, but let anybody go where one wants to go, because all are now conscientious human being endowed with rationale and reason, and the matrimonial bonding should not, to my opinion, be there to curb one's freedom. So that is my belief, and I know that what could be its consequences, but at the same times, this is also not leading to a very happy state of where lots of violence is there against each other, mental cruelty is there, lots of suicides have taken place. Wherever the courts sent forcibly the couple together, it is found after some days that one person has committed suicide, whether it is man or woman, So telling anybody to stay with someone forcibly is, against any norm, against any law, against the mandate of this constitution, that yes, we have to have a very good family life, but not at the cost of our liberty of life.
So we have another question for you from Shavir Singh.
I think it should be the last question.
All right, sir. So this is the last question we're taking. Shavir Singh is asking, do you think that arresting the husband who gave triple talaq would lead to over-criminalization rather than providing justice to the women?
I think this is a myth. This is a big myth created by dogmatic fundamentalists, Islamic fundamentalists. And if you see that Prevention of Dowry Act, giving and taking dowry is also punishable offense. If we believe that it should not be punished, then it will create, matrimonial disharmony. If you arrest someone, under 498A in the name of mental or physical cruelty, it will also, create matrimonial disharmony and render the woman forlorn. If husband is jailed, again, according to the Hindu law, under these acts or even Domestic Violence Act, it means we should not have any law. So why to say about this triple talaq? You tell me. You can have divorce. Muslims are not denied divorce, but not in the fits of rage, not
Anger.
in 1 minute. So, you say that this will create family disharmony, this will render the woman forlorn. So this is just a, just an excuse. And if it would have been there, then in Hindu matrimonial laws, in Hindu matrimonial jurisprudence, also we should have not passed any law. So what is this? Because there also husband goes to jail. So this is just just an excuse, and this is an excuse of persons who are fundamentalist, who want to keep women under check. So thanks a lot. It has been a real pleasure to have a very wonderful session. I could have gone on and on. And I think 4:30 I have committed somewhere else. So please, maybe
Dr. Vipin, I think there are so many questions, but one question, Nitika, the very first question she has asked, I would request Sanya if she could take Nikita's question, Nikita Soni, if you could take that. And there are very wonderful questions. One about marital rape also, that has also been asked by somebody. So I think we can take one last question from Nitika, if you could just.
Yes, sir. So Nitika has asked a question. She's asking that, sir, should we start the practice of embracing ourselves, and will that give the world, give us a world of equity?
what is that? I couldn't get it. We should stop
Embracing ourselves, and would that give us a world of
Start.
equity?
embracing. What is that? What she wants to say? I am not able to get.
Nikita is there in the room.
Yes, Nikita, you can directly ask me. I think. What do you
Thank
mean
you
by
so
it?
much, sir. Sir, I wanted to say that when you stated that women have love and affection and that's their power. So I wanted to say that we should start embracing ourselves so that we could reach the world of equity. Is that your solution for our women equality? I wanted to know that. Was I audible?
Yeah. Sir, again, your mic is. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, that is what I wanted to say, that women are actually much more powerful, and Western countries have used them in their espionage. They are used in militaries. They are used, in the, the Chanakya used to use them as wish kanyas, and this power of love is matchless actually. And man fears always. Why one does not want to let his daughter, his wife, his sister go out? Because this power of love is matchless. You can make a man do anything, and man is well aware of that. And this has been associated with her character, so that she should not go out. She should stay in a family system, in a bondage, that she is a characterless woman, because you are stripping her from this power in the name of character. That is what we now did. Earlier, man's muscle power used to be celebrated, but now we have rendered it as cruelty, because that was a power. If man is allowed to use his muscle power, he can plunder and loot several people, but now it is rendered illegal. So this power of women, that is what the men did at that time, that they acknowledge that this emotional power, love power, affection power should be put under strong check, so that men could not women could not compete with him. So that is what I want to stress, that yes, this is also a power. You must use this power of your love and affection. You must use this power against men, and it should not be made illegal. It should be very much socially legalized. Legally it is legal, but socially also it should be legalized. That she should be allowed to, mix with others, and she should also, use this power. If one has a power, if I have an ideological power, I must use it. If I have my money power, I can spend and buy most advanced equipments for myself. I can buy a good house for myself. If I have a power of love and affection, I can wean several people, and that is what, if you see my friend Sanjaykchadha, he is using his power of love and affection so much so that across the country there is no bureaucrat who is out of his ambit. He speaks so nicely with them. He has made up his so many connections, not with his money power, not with his muscle power, but only with his power of love and affection. And women's power of love and affection is matchless to anyone. So that is the craftiness, that is the, most, that she should not mix with men, she should not be close to men. So that is why this matrimonial arrangement in fact has been made, to keep women under check, that she should, and this casteism, that she should be married in caste. If you read Ambedkar's book, about annihilation of caste, you will find that how this exogamy and endogamy were practiced, why they were there, why no family wants that, because women used to be understood as property, and they never allowed women to go out of their caste. They thought that woman is their wealth, just like Munshi Premchand used to say that in one of the story. He says that अकेली लड़की जो है ना खुली तिजोरी के समान होती है. So these kind of things have been there, and these kind of perversions have been there, and you must understand. I know subconsciously now women have started these soft powers, and they are using it to reach upper positions. That is how they could acquire 70% of the judicial workforce. That is how they could acquire 80% of the total teaching posts. That is how they could acquire, the legal, the battery of lawyers they have become now to take cudgel against the perpetrator of violating their rights. They could be men and women also. It is not that only men are keeping women in domination. There are women also who want that patriarchy should be sustained. So I think if I have answered
Thank you very much, Vipinji. This was really very wonderful, if I may say 2 lines here. The way you started from, the goddess status, why it was given, the reason behind it, why the woman was kept in the shackles of, the rules and regulations which are made, and what is the dynamic, version given by you, that today those shackles are getting broken. And after independence, even in India, we have seen that a lot of changes have taken place, but still, I would say the parampara, the practice which is being used since thousands of years, it is taking time to go in proper way. So very wonderfully narrated, and very, in a crisp manner, with the modern examples, and I was, not, I couldn't, go even for a minute here or there. It was the very practical aspects you talk about. If, this can come from a person who is very well read, in between you have given examples of Cleopatra to Elizabeth to Indira Gandhi, what not? At the end you talked about Munshi Premchand's stories, Ambedkarji's version, and what not. So thankful to you, and I feel this session is not over yet. There is a lot to talk about on this topic, and so we will again would like you to come some other time as per your time. I know you are, a dedicated person, and I can't talk much. Let us see what is next. Sanya wants to say something.
Thank you so much, sir. We are extremely delighted. Right now, we're so much enlightened about this topic. And as Sanjay sir said, that we couldn't move anywhere throughout this session. And for such a well-read man, you gave us such practical answers. And now, thank you so much for such an informative session. And we would love for you to conduct another session for us.
And
Thank you so much.
And somehow I don't know what is the reason, but the majority of the people out here in the session today are from women. So I wish everybody to take it in the right sense, take it the way it is explained. I feel perfectly, and strengthen yourself, make yourself so strong. As I always talk about it whenever I discuss with my students, wherever I go and meet young people, primarily students only, when I meet them, I always say that, as Vipinji has very rightly said, that women has more potential than men. That doesn't mean that I'm saying something wrong about the men, but so you all have great potential. Kindly harness it and use it, and sky is the limit for all of you. That's what is my best wishes for each one of you. And thank you very much from my side, from the side of all the people who are here, Vipinji. We once again thank you for taking out time, and it was a wonderful session. बस मन कर रहा था, जैसे आप बोलते हैं, कि बस ऐसे बैठ के सुनते ही रहें आपको. So kind of you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for it's a real privilege to speak with such august gathering, and they are the prospective rulers of our country.
Yes.
And I wish them all the success. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with this, I think, Sanya, we can close the session now, if you say so. Or is there something?
Sure. No. We are all there are lots of messages pouring in the chat box, thanking sir. And sir, thank you so much. Lastly, from the bottom of all our hearts, we are extremely blessed to have you conduct the session today for us. Thank you so much, sir.
And I'm also thankful to Sanya. She has taken out time, and great. It was wonderful that you came, and all of you.
I think Sanya is going to be asset for us. And I wish that she should, in time to come, anchor all the programs. It was really wonderful that
today only she said so.
Such a brain has anchored the program, and she had built up a big canvas for me
and I'm very happy to report to you that I feel really very proud that so many students, all of them are sitting here. I can't take all the names, so I'm not taking any name. All of them are very bright, and literally it makes me so comfortable. Number one, Number two, I feel so proud about it. And sometimes I feel also satisfied that, oh, looking into the current scenario, I feel that my nation is going to be in safe hands. So it's something big, which I think, and so good students, I found them whenever they come and meet me for internship. So it is a really proud moment for me also. And many of them, when I see, Vipinji, you were mentioning that many girl students have joined judiciary. So many of my interns, juniors have become judges all across. So I feel really sometimes so good that, yes, and they are doing wonderful work. So on that note itself, I think this conversation will not stop otherwise. I think we will say thanks to you once again, and thank you each one of you for joining here and taking part in this session. And so many messages I have received. Thank you very much from the core of my heart. Thank you. So we will close this meeting now. Thank you.